G'day guys, in this video we'll be looking at the Brolga bits, rated recovery point, installation and use for the 3rd gen Grand Vitara. This vehicle's also got a bash plate by Ironman, so we'll be looking at the modifications you need to do for the bash plate if it's installed. But if you don't have one, no problems, you can just bypass those bits. Let's get into it. Now, one of the great things about these recovery points is they don't require extensive modifications to your vehicle. We can work with a dead standard setup. So as you can see in this photo here, it's a dead standard bumper and dead standard underneath, works fine with it. Now, if you do have your bash plates and your bull bar, and this one's equipped with an ARB bull bar, no problems either, works with those. Also the Ironman's been verified with, so it's a universal application. Let's take off the bash plate and show the modifications you have to do to the bash plate. So just grab your recovery point with your bash plate off upside down. Make sure you got it on the right side. Line up the edge with there, so a bit of a datum line. And then just grab a felt tip marker and mark out the bottom. Now it's probably a little hard to see the black mark there because the black pen on a black piece of steel, but that's all right. Our centre punch, just in the middle there. Then we grab our pilot drill, using our centre punch, just drill a hole through. Now we've got a pilot drill there, we can use our step drill to increase the size. Okay, for those of you playing along at home, I've increased it to a bit over 20mm diameter. We also have to increase the size of this one up here to cope with the size of the bolt. Rightio, now that's done, obviously we have to deburr it so we don't cut ourselves to shreds, and we're ready for the installation of the recovery point. Now the next job is to install the 2 nut plates, and as you can see I've already bent this one up, and the larger diameter one, you can see we've got 2 sizes here. The larger diameter one here fits into this hole, and the smaller diameter one fits into that hole. And you might have to have a bit of a pre-bend and a bit of a play around in order to know which goes where and how best to hold them in. When I've put these in before, I was having a bit of trouble with this one sliding down, so I just put a bit of hot glue on it. So I'll do that all now, but I'll save you from watching me do all that, so I'll have a play with it and see if I can get them in. As you can see, I've installed the nut plates there. I put a bit of hot glue on there. Now that's just to hold them there until I can get the bolt started into them. We'll have a look from the other side. You can see the tongue of the nut plate hanging out there, and we've just bent it out of the road so it doesn't interfere with the recovery point. So it's time now to put the bash plate back on and slide in the recovery point. So I've loosely put in the passenger side one, and now it's time for the driver's side. So I put these bolts here in this clamp here, just to keep the bash plate up so it's in the one spot. Now I need to remove this bolt, and that's an M19. It's a slightly larger size, the actual recovery point. Now the best way I've come across it, so I'll just drop these bolts out for a sec. And of course these are lined up from the bottom. Is to hang it from this bolt here up in there. And once you've got that started, which we have now, pull it up a little bit and then jump underneath it and line up the bolts from the underside and have a good look. Line up all your bolts, especially if you're going through a bash plate like I am. Okay, so we'll do that now and we'll get back to you in a sec. So the final part of the installation is talking to spec. So these bolts here are set to 85 Newton meters, and these ones here up to 135 Newton meters. So I've set the torque wrench to 85 Newton meters, and we'll just give it a final torque. There we go. Now I'll just reset the torque wrench. Righto, so I've reset the torque wrench to 135 Newton meters, or the imperial equivalent, and we'll talk to spec. There we go, there's the bottom one. And that's the top one. Righto, so that's all done. Let's show you how to use them. So on with the use. Now, if you're doing a snatch strap recovery, not that Grand Vitaras ever get bogged, but if you happen to do one, you grab a tree trunk protector or a bridle, you grab your snatch strap, you run it through. Now I've already connected to the driver's side with a 4 3/4 ton bow shackle. And we've got another 4 3/4 ton bow shackle there. And we'll just connect up to this side. Make sure there's no twist in it, make sure it's nice and flat in use, and that's perfectly good for a snatch recovery. But what about a winch recovery? So for winching, if we're doing a double line pull with a snatch block, we can simply run our line through there. We attach this to our anchor point. Of course, we've got our braided bow shackle on the end there. Attach that to our passenger side recovery point. So why do we anchor to the passenger side? Well, there'll be no one sitting in the passenger seat during recovery, so it's a safe position to be anchored to. If it recalls, it'll recall to the passenger side and not the driver's side. So guys, if you've got any more queries or questions about the recovery points from Brolga bits for the 3rd Gen Grand Vitara, by all means hit them up on the website. There's actually a QR code on the recovery point itself, so all you have to do is point your mobile device at it and it'll take you straight there. Thanks guys, hope to see you out on the tracks.